All us WWE fans have been talking about as of late is that WWE Draft. And why? Because we are ready for some new creative storylines and we are done with rematches. I repeat, done with rematches. This past Friday and Monday, several names were drafted over from Raw to SmackDown, SmackDown to Raw, and even some NXT call-ups. But who really won this year's 2021 draft? Who has the better roster? Is it Raw or is it SmackDown? Well, in this video, I'm going to go ahead and analyze all of that, plus talk about some potential feuds, some things I'd like to see, and much more. But first, a message from our sponsors. Speaking of the draft, how would you like to hold all of the booking power in your hands? Well, now you can. Sicko Games presents the Wrestling GM app. The Wrestling GM app is a simulator game where wrestling fans can now take over and become general managers. The game features 20 wrestling organizations from different parts of the world. As the GM, your job is to book 90-minute shows that will please your fan base. The Wrestling GM app is available on iOS and Android. To download the game, click the link in the description box below. Now, back to our video. So, to decide who really won this WWE draft, we need to look at three things. 1. Which brand has the most star power? 2. Which brand has the most depth in their roster? 3. Which brand has the most potential in terms of storylines? So let's kick it off with Monday Night Raw. First and foremost, right now, Raw has a really bad reputation. The former A show has been judged by fans for poor creative choices, bad booking, endless rematches, lack of logic, and well, you get the picture. The 3-hour show has been hurt badly, and it needs to get good fast. With the new roster changes, let's look at the star power on Raw. On the men's side, you have your WWE Champion Big E, Randy Orton, Edge, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley, Seth Rollins, and AJ Styles. As a new champion, Big E really needs some big feuds to solidify his title reign and truly make it a remarkable one. Already with just these names, there is huge potential in matches like Big E versus Randy Orton, Big E versus Seth Rollins, and the one I really want to see is Big E versus AJ Styles. I should also add that having AJ Styles on your brand, period, is like major double, triple, quadruple points because AJ Styles can have a good match with just about anybody. One of the things I do hope to see on Raw is actual proper use of Finn Balor. Finn has taken a huge hit. He went from having high work rate matches on NXT as NXT champion to losing to Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules because the ropes gave out. One of the things I hope we're done seeing is Edge versus Seth Rollins. Seen it, been there, done that. Let's move on. Then on the women's side for top stars, you have Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Nikki Ash, and Rhea Ripley. I am interested in seeing things continue to play out with Bianca and Becky. I also want to see Alexa drop the magical character and surface back as a real competitor. If so, seeing matches with her and Bianca and Rhea and Becky would be a lot of fun. Now let's get into the roster depth. In my opinion, a good roster has a good low card, mid card, and of course, main eventers where they're all telling interesting and different stories. Let's start with the men. Some of the guys on the Raw roster that I'm particularly excited about include Chad Gable, Damian Priest, Gable Steveson, Karrion Kross, Keith Bearcat Lee, Kevin Owens, and Matt Riddle. If all these guys are treated like true and real competitors, we can have a lot of fun here. Chad Gable has been given nothing during his time in WWE. Now is the time to utilize the Olympian properly. Damian Priest is one of the few very likable guys on the roster. So far, it's been good with him as United States champion, and at least we won't be seeing rematches with him and Sheamus anymore. Kevin Owens is one of the most exciting guys on the roster. Given that it seems he has one foot out the door, this is the time to invigorate his spirit. Now with Gable Steveson, it is going to be interesting because even though he has a name, how fast can he adapt to the pro wrestling style? We'll see. As for Karrion Kross and Keith Bearcat Lee, Karrion Kross, as we know, has potential, but with that current persona that he has right now on Raw, it's not necessarily looking too good. I actually thought that he and Keith Lee were going to be two of the people drafted on over to SmackDown, maybe give them a little bit of a fresh start, but that is not happening. So now we'll see what their path looks like on Raw. Will it continue to be what we're seeing right now, or will things improve? Now for the women. I still think we need plenty of more women women to add to the Raw roster in general, because looking at it right now, I kind of only really have hopes for Liv Morgan. I hope this time we finally get to see a push for her. This feels like a now or never moment. Another interesting name added to the Red brand is Mia Yim. Does the Raw roster have depth? I would say so, yes, because I do think that they have a lot of different people that if they utilize properly, they can actually do something with them. Now, the one criticism I do have is we definitely need, again, more women and also more tag teams. Now let's jump on over to the SmackDown side. SmackDown has been regarded by many fans as the new A show ever since they moved on over to Fox. Because it is a 2-hour show, it is also easier to watch. However, they are also guilty of rematches, poor creative, and in my opinion, lack of shock value. So the brands really need some new faces and some new stories. When it comes to star power, they've got Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and Natalya on the women's side, and on the men's, Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Jeff Hardy, and Sami Zayn, to name a few. Immediately looking at the names here, it is very clear that Raw is winning over on the star power end of things. I don't feel like SmackDown really has enough star power on their brand. Personally, looking at the rest of the roster, I kind of feel like you have two things. One, you kind of have guys that are already slotted where you don't really see them doing much with them, period, because they've kind of been doing the same thing with them for years. And then on the other hand, you have some younger talent, some new talent, which if they are treated properly, I do think we can see a lot of good potential coming out of those new faces. It will be interesting to see what they do with Hit Row, Humberto Carrillo, Angel Garza, Mustafa Ali, and Mansoor, Ricochet, and especially Ridge Holland. For the women, it's the same situation. I'm interested in seeing Shotzi, Toni Storm, and Xia Li all become bigger stars. So in terms of star power, Raw wins. They have more potential matches for the men and for the women's division. And when it comes to roster depth, I also think that Raw wins here. However, in my opinion, SmackDown has more options for tag teams and more of a tag team division. So in terms of who really won the WWE Draft, I gotta give it to Monday Night Raw. Raw right now feels a lot stronger. There feels like there's way more options and more potential cool storylines. However, we'll see how it ends up playing out. But based on the roster that they have, I could only sense we're gonna get some good stuff out of it. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. And let's be real, Raw needed all the help that it can get. So now, before we wrap up this video, I do have to mention some of the current free agents. First and foremost, we have the big one, the biggest name, Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar announced that he is a free agent. I don't know if this means we're gonna see him bounce back and forth, or if he's gonna eventually end up sticking to a certain brand. I do not know, but we'll see. Whenever Brock Lesnar is on your TV, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's a win for that roster. Another free agent is Bayley. As of this video, Bayley has not been drafted. Now, where should she go since she's out in injury right now? I do think that she would make a great asset on SmackDown. So she should stay on SmackDown because let's be real, they need more star power. And the other person who hasn't been drafted is Asuka. I do not know what is going on there, why she wasn't drafted. Legit, no idea. But I definitely think that just like Bayley, she should also be drafted over to SmackDown. Also, while I'm here talking about the WWE Draft, talking about people moving different places, different new potential storylines that we have coming up, I also want to throw in some NXT names that I hope we see on the main roster sooner rather than later. Dakota Kai, Cameron Grimes, Ember Moon, Frankie Monet, Io Shirai, Johnny Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, Santos Escobar, and Tommaso Ciampa. Well, what did you think of my WWE Draft analysis? Go ahead and share your thoughts on the draft and this video in the comment section below. Do you agree or do you disagree? Do you think Raw has the stronger brand, or do you think that SmackDown has the stronger brand? Either way, we won't officially know until these get going, till we start to see what they do with these shows. As you all know, it's not until October 22nd that the draft and the moves and everything takes effect. I will be dropping more weekly videos on this channel, so make sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this one. And if you want to talk about wrestling or the WWE Draft or anything, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at _Denise Salcedo. Until next time, I'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.